Hello guys, so I'm in the middle of historical Cambridge here next to the university. Beautiful university buildings as you can see. And I've been called out to a doctor's surgery where they've got a problem with some electrics tripping. Basically some of the sockets are not working and they want me to just check it out and see if I can figure out what the problem is. They said every time they turn the circuit breaker back on it goes bang. So I've got my tools there. I've got a little bit of a walk around the corner to get to the place. They've given me a doctor's parking permit, so I'm in the doctor's parking space. So I'm just going to rush around there and have a look, and hopefully it's an easy one, but we'll see. I'll see if I can get in there and film it and let you know how I get on. Well, that was a pretty annoying fault-finding session, shall we say. So let me talk you through it. Unfortunately, I couldn't really film in there because it was a doctor's surgery. There was a lot going on. It was just not really appropriate to be filming while I was in there. But basically, it was down in sort of the basement. There was an area where they had like doctors sort of wait, the place where the doctor sees you and examines you and stuff like that. They had a few of those, and they had like a little kitchen and a little storeroom area. And basically what they said was that on Friday when they left, everything was working okay, but then they got in on Monday morning and all the sockets in that area weren't working. And unfortunately, what that meant was that the vaccine fridges had all defrosted, so they lost like thousands of pounds worth of vaccines. And they turned the breaker back on and it just went bang straight away, basically, and tripped off. So it was an old, well, not that old, MEM MemShield 2 board. Obviously, because it's a medical location, they didn't have RCD protection for sockets and things because you don't want important sockets tripping out unnecessarily. So there was just MCBs on everything. So it was just an MCB for this circuit. And it was literally banging the MCB as soon as they turned it back on. So I tried to be good this time. Usually what I would do is turn the brake, I would go around, unplug everything, and then just turn the breaker back on and see if it stays in. And if it does, then you kind of know that something that was plugged in is the problem. And then you can just go around, plug everything back in again, and if it pops, you know that that's the problem. So that's what I would normally do, but I thought I'm going to be good today because I know that if I do this, like I did in a past YouTube video, I get absolutely ribbed for it because, you know, you should do insulation resistance testing first before you turn anything on. And I know that that's, safety wise, that's the correct procedure and stuff. So I thought I'm going to do it properly. You know, I'm in a medical location. I don't want to risk, causing any issues. So I disconnected the lives from the board, from the breaker, disconnected the neutrals, started doing insulation testing, went round, unplugged everything, and we still had 0 megohms between live and neutral. So I was like, okay, that's why it's tripping. There's obviously a dead short between live and neutral. And when I measured in just continuity test, it was like 26 ohms between live and neutral, so it's very low. Now, obviously, that could indicate that something's still connected, but I went around and double checked. I couldn't find anything else that was still plugged in. So I thought, okay, it must be, a damaged cable or something like that. But there were a few things that kind of clouded the water, shall we say, because when I got there, first of all, I noticed that there were flooring guys replacing the flooring throughout the building. And they'd sort of been chasing out the floor and then putting a new self-leveling screed down and then putting this kind of plastic laminate flooring down. So that was one thing. The other thing was that she said, a couple of weeks ago, an electrician came in and changed the sockets, the switched sockets for the fridges to unswitched sockets because they didn't want them to be able to be switched off. So I thought, okay, straight away, it's either something that the flooring guys have done, or it's something that this other electrician's done. So I thought I'll take the sockets off that other electrician worked on first, because there's a possibility that maybe he's just nicked a wire or something when he's done the sockets. Checked those out, they were okay. I got the flooring guys down and I said to them, look, is there any chance you might have kind of, damaged a cable? Can you remember anything? Can you remember seeing any cables? And they were really helpful, actually, and they helped me to sort of search and look for areas where there might have been a chance that they damaged a cable, but there was nothing really obvious. So I literally just had to start going around and basically taking off socket covers, checking behind them. Couldn't find anything. So then I started disconnecting wires and basically measuring between the different cables for the different sockets, trying to narrow it down. And I eventually narrowed it down to this one doctor's examination room, which had a few sockets in. From one side of the room to the other side of the room, it was a cable that was going across there. Then I noticed on the ceiling that there was a switch fuse connection unit, which I hadn't seen. And that switch fuse connection unit did one of those lights that's kind of like on an arm hanging from the ceiling that they, a bit like a dentist light that they move over your face and they shine it in your mouth and they're working on your teeth or whatever. It did that. So I thought, man, I bet that's on the socket circuit. So I turned that off, and then suddenly the installation resistance reading went up. And it was, it was not perfect, but it was sort of 5-6 megohms. So I was a bit soul destroyed because I thought, okay, basically I've been just searching for nothing. So I went round, started putting everything back together, and kept measuring the insulation resistance readings, and they stayed fairly okay, stayed steady. So basically I thought, okay, I've been just searching for nothing, and probably actually if that, it was probably something that was plugged in, or that light itself. So then what do you do? So I went round, measured insulation resistance. Then I thought, okay, everything's okay insulation resistance wise. So then I turned the circuit back on, and I did earth loop impedance tests at all the sockets. They were all okay. So then I'm like, okay, the sockets are all okay. The cables are all okay. So the next port of call is go around and start plugging everything back in again. And I did that, and I got to one of the fridges, and as soon as I plugged it in, it just went bang and tripped the circuit breaker. Believe it or not, it was one of the vaccine fridges that was actually the problem. So the vaccine fridge, I don't know what was wrong with it, because I tested across the plug, tested insulation resistance, and the readings were okay. But for some reason, the vaccine fridge basically had a problem. It wasn't even that old, it was fairly new. But that was the issue. So then I just had to explain to them that actually it was the vaccine fridge that was the problem. I'd spent 2.5 hours just searching for something that actually wasn't there. And if I'd only have just turned the circuit breaker on at the start, instead of faffing around with insulation resistance testing and stuff, then actually I would have found it much quicker. It would have literally been a case of go around, unplug everything, turn the breaker on, okay, it stays in, and then go around and plug everything back in again, bang the fridge, and then it's the fridge. It probably would have taken me less than an hour that way. So I was a bit annoyed about the whole situation, and in a bit of a dilemma really, because it's like, if you do things the technically safe way or whatever, you can end up going down the rabbit hole like I did, and just like totally going way over the top, searching for something that doesn't exist. I mean, to be fair, I should have seen that switch fuse connection unit on the ceiling, but it wasn't easy to spot. So if I had have spotted that and turned it off, I guess when I did my insulation resistance testing at the start, then the readings would have been okay, and actually I wouldn't have had to worry about you know, taking all the sockets off and stuff. But let me know in the comments how you feel about this. What do you think about this whole situation? I just wanted to share this experience with you because I feel like it might be an interesting topic of conversation. And you know, fault finding is one of those things that you can do it so many different ways. Different people have their own different techniques and things. So I'd love to know, with that kind of fault, what would your technique be? How would you have gone about it? Let me know all that in the comments. And if this video has been of interest to you, please don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. And if you'd like to, you can subscribe to my channel for free, and then you'll get regular video updates from me if you tap the notification bell, because I do post videos here pretty much 3 times a week, all about my life as an electrician and the kind of day-to-day running of an electrical business. So thanks for watching and have a great day.